Okay, so after you've cut out both pieces of interfacing, we're just going to go ahead and separate them and prepare them to put them on the fabric. Go ahead and grab a piece of fabric that is large enough to fit your interfacing. Make sure to check it before you do it, just in case. Before we press it down though, we do want to make sure that we de-wrinkle the fabric and make sure to press from the wrong side. Be sure to check your heat settings or you could accidentally end up burning the fabric, and trust me, that's never a good time. Let's go ahead and press out the wrinkles, take your time. Next, we're going to place the interfacing on the wrong side of the fabric and place the interfacing face down. So basically, you want the dots to be on the bottom of the interfacing. The dots are the adhesive, and so when you see them disappear under the iron, that's when you know it should be pretty well bonded. You can use a spray bottle to help expedite the process. Now go ahead and trim off all of your excess fabric. And go ahead and repeat this entire process for the other half of your collar. So you'll have 2 of these pieces. If you have a stripe on the collar, go ahead and do that now before sewing both of your collar sides together. For mine, I set mine 3/4 of an inch away from the edge of the fabric. I don't actually pin this part because I find that it's easier to just work with the ruler and sort of eyeball it. A lot of people can hand sew the bias tape down, which is what I'm using is double folded bias tape, but it's up to you how you want to do it. You also will probably want to miter your corners, but for the sake of speed and this tutorial, I am just going to do this sort of origami thing. You fold it directly backwards and then press it, and then you'll kind of fold it at a 45-degree angle back the other way, and it'll make this faux mitered corner. It's not as nice, but if you're just looking to make a really simple collar, you're not looking to compete in craftsmanship or anything, then this is totally a fine technique. So go ahead and start sewing those corners down and sew the rest of your edges down. And don't forget to repeat the same process for the other corner. I like to sew the inside of the corner and then the outside, and then go back around and get all the large lines. It helps to do frequent pressing between all of these stitches just to make sure that the bias tape is controlled so that your collar doesn't get too wavy looking, but you're still going to want to press it after you're done. So you can see it here, it's a little wavy and curly. We're just going to press it out and use a wood clapper to get it nice and smooth. The clapper just helps absorb moisture and heat and helps the press set a little faster and cleaner. So go ahead and place your other collar piece on top of it, right sides together, and go ahead and pin the heck out of that thing. I put pins everywhere. I like to start in the corners and then work my way to the inside. I pin so many because you really don't want any movement when you're sewing this. So you want to make sure everything is nice and flat and won't be shifting when you're sewing. I go ahead and use a Pilot friction pen, which disappears with heat, and I draw a line all the way around 3/8 of an inch away from the outside stitch of the bias tape stripe. The reason for this is so that when you flip it, you'll know that because it's compared to the edge of your bias tape and not the edge of your fabric, you'll know that your bias tape stripe will look pretty evenly spaced from the edge of the final product. By the way, I start at the center back instead of going all the way around because I find that it's a lot easier to make sure you keep your project aligned. Go ahead and trim off some of your curves, clean it up a little bit, and don't forget to clip your corners so they'll be nice and sharp when you turn them. Go ahead and turn it right side out at this stage. We're going to sew the inside neckline a little bit later, but I find it's easier to press the outside seam before moving to the neckline. Let's go ahead and take your time and press this. Don't forget to use your clapper to make sure you get a nice crisp edge. And we're going to turn it back inside out. Mark a 4-inch opening so that you have space to turn it later. And we're going to sew both sides. Don't forget to clip your corners and trim off your curves here as well. Go ahead and flip it right side out again. Turn those corners so they're nice and crisp. And just start pressing. When you get to the back neckline where it's open, go ahead and just press a little bit inside, about like a 3/8 of an inch or a 1/4 inch. And then we're going to hand sew that so that it's closed. And you want to make sure to use like a slip stitch or something similar so that no one will see the stitch. It's going to be behind your neck, so no one will really notice it anyways, but it'll look even nicer if you can get it so that you can hardly see the stitch. And then your collar is pretty much complete. The only thing you have left to do is snaps, which you can place wherever you feel. Usually the front 2 corners are the best place to put those, but if you have a different arrangement or you want to attach it in a different way, you can do that however you feel. So now you have a beautiful collar. You can do 1 stripe, 2 stripes, no stripes, whatever you need. You can absolutely make a beautiful collar with this pattern, which is available on my Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry that this video is coming out a bit late, but I'm going to be coming at you all month with various magical girl tutorials. We're going to do a giant back bow. I'm going to show you how to do the chokers, hopefully the glove rolls if I can figure out a good way to do it myself. I'm also going to be doing this skirt, but that's going to be a Patreon only video, so if you would like to check that out, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as low as $5 to be able to get that tutorial when it's out. So again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully this video was helpful for some of you out there. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them below. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time on So What?